Ladies and gents, welcome to UX, and this is Press. Trump pitches new twin-engine F-35 variant called F-55? Question mark, exclamation mark, implying what the fuck? Because even he feels that. I think this is... I saw the breaking news. I think this is one of those things where Trump just say it but never happens because Trump felt he can do this, but he can't. Unless it's in the works and Trump is just claiming like, I did that. But shit like this doesn't just happen. Like, president can't just say, oh, I'm doing this, and it's gonna... That's not how it works. This was a SANDBOXX, obviously. Yeah, can you make an F-55 out of F-35 just like that? Can you just make it twin engine? Like, it's a stealth plane. Like, people need to realize when you make a stealth plane, you can't make major changes and not sacrifice its stealth a lot, right? And I also saw a place where, like, was it in Saudi or something, where he said, like, I don't like stealth, right? It just makes the plane ugly. Is that an indication of saying that stealth will be compromised in order to make this? Because that would make sense. But then again, what is stealth? Recently, American military put out a statement, and this is by American military, so there is no fake news. The Houthis nearly shot down an F-35. This is F-35 you're talking about. This is one of those moments where, like, okay, F-35 is redeemed, but is it now? Because maybe everybody was bitching at F-35 was not wrong. Maybe F-35 is not that good. If that is the case, how does Houthi, which is Iran light, tracked and targeted F-35? Now I don't know what that statement even means, like nearly shot down. Does that mean they somehow locked onto it but never even come close to shooting it down? Or does it mean like missile really came close and some flare, like saved it or something? Because if Houthi can do that, Houthi can't have ballistic missiles. Houthi can't have ICBMs. Houthi is not a real military. Houthi is a terrorist organization that attacks a lot of places and is funded by Iran. Iran's not going to give them their best weapons. So this is Iran light. Iran light just targeted F-35. This is one of those moments. I'm not shitting on F-35. I'm just shitting on the whole concept of stealth plane. Is it even possible in the modern world? This is like tank thing. You can make the best tank costing billions, but simple Amazon drone will take it out. Is this similar thing for the jets as well? Like, technology has gotten so better. Computers and chipset have gotten so better. They can target anything. Even the basic, some terrorist organization with some kind of equipment can target the best plane on the planet. And now that Rafale shot down, of course it's shot down in India. Look at even F-35 is not safe, right? So this is not by some this is some fake news out there. This is said by US military themselves. They didn't elaborate, like, what do you mean they nearly shot down F-35? Was missile nearly, exploded near F-35? Or somehow the radar just captured them and you counting that as shooting down? Like, there's no detail behind that. I was hoping SANDBOXX makes a video about it. Because SANDBOXX always jumps to some kind of a news to debunk it. And he didn't make video yet. Makes me think, like, wait a minute, this might be worse than it looks. But I'm sure he'll make a video soon, right? Because I need to watch the video. What does that mean? Because my stealth plane has always been this, like, it's a stealth plane. Nobody can even touch it, let alone target it. So if this turns out to be true, like, it's like a tank thing, isn't it? Like, what is a stealth plane? Like, does it even matter at this point, right? Like, you need to treat planes as like, oh, it's going to get shot down. Let's see if it can complete the objective. Beyond that, it doesn't matter. Because that's the modern warfare now, just like tanks is now, right? You put tanks in the ground, you know it's going to get blown up. You have to, measure that. Is it the same thing with the jets now? I don't know. If that's the case, then F-15, was it EX? No, it's not EX. No, it is EX, right? The largest payload plane that becomes automatically the most powerful one. But yeah, it can be shot down, but it will blow a lot of things up before it gets shot down. I don't know, this is what I think, like, I need more details behind it. So let's watch one. Well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know which I will react to more. I like SANDBOXX, obviously. SANDBOXX covers a lot of this latest news about F-55, apparently. Can you, like, just make it a new variant? Like, it's just F-35 with another engine, so is it an F-55? But then again, like, SANDBOXX covered, like, Block 4 F-35. Is that even a F-35 anymore? Because too much things are upgraded. Like, the entire system is upgraded, and it's becoming, like, it's basically becoming 6th gen now with drones and things, right? So yeah, why not F-55?
Twin-engine version of the F-35 that he's dubbed the F-55. The president proposed this upgrade along with what he called a super F-22 upgrade from Qatar this morning. First, mentioning a simple, as he put it, F-35 upgrade that's already in the works, probably in reference to the sweeping list of 75 or more changes being made to the aircraft that are set to begin this summer in what we...
Okay, if you're making Super F-22, why do you need F-35 with 2 engine? Okay, only reason to have 2 engine in the sky, I'm guessing, is because of air dominance. That's our air dominance plane. You have F-22 Super that you're making. You have 6th-gen F-47. Why make this twin engine? Because it's more versatile or something? Oh, wait a minute. You can't sell F-22. Maybe this is like a selling version. Like we can sell it to people.
commonly call the Block 4 upgrade. But then he went on to say, and I quote, "We're also doing an F-55, and that's going to be a substantial upgrade, but it's also going to be also with 2 engines, because the F-35 has a single engine. I don't like single engine."
What the fuck does that even mean? You don't like a single engine? Single engine and instrumental is the most agile plane you can have. There's a reason why a lot of planes have single engine. I think somebody in the military told him that we're doing this, and he just, I want to be the first to break the news, and everybody, what the fuck? We don't do that fast, man. There's a protocol. This is military. Come on, it's not politics.
Now, after losing out on the opportunity to build America's next stealth fighter, Lockheed Martin CEO Jim Taiclet did pitch what he called a Ferrari upgrade for the F-35, which at the time I argued could likely include advanced new adaptive cycle engines, a gallium nitride active electronic...
There was a video SANDBOXX made about Ferrari. I'm like, what the fuck is even this? It's like, so this is that.
We scanned array radar, new long-range infrared sensors, stealthy drop tanks, and maybe even new wing configurations and control surfaces akin to developing an F-35 equivalent to the Raptor-based fighter bomber known as the FB-22 or the cranked arrow delta-winged F-16XL from the 80s. This FB-35, as I called it, would have been more attack-oriented than today's F-35, sacrificing some degree of speed and aerobatic maneuverability for vastly improved range and payload.
Now 2 engine.
Trump's F-55 actually sounds a lot more like a different proposal that, in the past, I've called the Joint Strike Raptor. You see, F-22 production was cut short after just 186 Raptors were delivered, and to ensure no nation ever got their hands on the tool...
Only 185. That's nothing. Like for America, this is like peanuts. If India had 185 F-22, we would fuck off mostly. Like Pakistan wouldn't even be the issue. China would be scared. This is the level America's flying right now. We just made 185 F-22. It's like nothing. That's too much for a lot of people, a lot of countries.
Tooling required to build their own, Lockheed Martin was ordered to destroy it, effectively guaranteeing no more F-22s could ever be built. But by 2017, Congress recognized that this was a pretty short-sighted decision, and they commissioned a secret study.
Really? All you in the Congress just, we live in utopia now. Wars? What wars? There's not going to be any wars in 21st century. No way China's going to jump to the next generation of planes and everything. They're going to try to make 5th and 6th gen plane. America's flying too high. Nobody's going to come close. They were like living in their own world while military is constantly under panic. Like, yeah, people can catch up. Like, we have intelligence. We have CIA. They've told us, like, people are catching up. In Congress, like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Shut down F-22. Why do we need it? This is why you needed it. And now shit hit the fan. Every country like China and other people are making 5th gen plane and catching up slowly. And everybody in Congress like, yeah, we need to ramp it up. We can't like let our like edge go behind. We are literally 2 decades ahead of everyone. We can't let that go. So now suddenly like, oh, we're making multiple planes now.
Into what it might cost to restart Raptor production. And they found that it would cost around $61 billion in today's currency to build just 194 new F-22s. Now that shakes out to right around $326 million per new Raptor, which is a fair bit more than the US intends to spend on the new F-47. But
I mean, yeah, you shut down everything. You think it can just like ramp up like that? Of course, it's going to cost money.
Just 1 year later, Lockheed Martin pitched a different approach, this time to Japan, offering to build them hybrid fighters based on the F-22 Raptor's design, but carrying the F-35's more modern and advanced avionics suite. Now, this proposal would have seen Japan fund the initial effort to stand up production, and then both Japan and the United States would be able to purchase these new Joint Strike Raptors for as little as just $177 million a jet, which adjusted to today's inflation is right around $208 million per jet. Now that shakes out to about twice the price of an F-35A, but for what would arguably be the most advanced and capable fighter ever conceived, at least short of the 6th gen designs making their way toward service now. But ultimately, both the US and Japan recognize that moving forward with this Joint Strike Raptor concept would be investing tens of billions of dollars into a fighter design that was finalized 10 years before the first iPhone hit the market. But this new F-55 concept, as crazy as it does sound, may be more realistic than the Joint Strike Raptor, mostly because it would involve making changes to an existing production line rather than standing up an entirely new one, bringing down at least some of the immense cost of developing the F-55's production infrastructure.
Yeah, and F-35 is the most versatile plane there is. There's a reason behind it. F-22 is awesome, but F-35 was built like, okay, we're going to make this as modular as we can. And it just makes sense. You can make this change in, like, if you can make changes like that, that opens the whole new avenue of, like, you can just have one type of frame and make a lot of different shit with it. Basically bringing down R&D of a lot of, lot of money in R&D and a lot of, like, obviously the research is going to be there. But D will be much lower because you don't have to think about the whole complete different structure of things.
But more realistic still doesn't necessarily mean feasible. In a real way, adding a second engine to the F-35 would require such an immense overhaul of the aircraft's design.
Yeah, like you have to change the frame. At that point, does that even the same thing? Like even in cars, like the cars that basically you see on the road, if you want to drastically change the frame, you're basically starting from the scratch because that's how chassis work. So if you're changing chassis, then you have to change chassis in order to fit 2 basic jets there. Like, didn't you just start from the scratch at that point?
Stealth geometries and many of its subsystems that calling it an F-35 upgrade at all rings to me as either a misnomer or intentional marketing. But it's not exactly like there's never been a precedent for that. Boeing's FA-18 Super Hornet, as one great example, is famously a completely different aircraft from the FA-18 Hornet it's supposed to be based on. It just...
What? Wait a minute, Super Hornet is completely different than the Hornet, even at the structural level? Why are you calling it Super Hornet then?
borrows design.
Wait a minute, why are you calling F-18 Super Hornet? Not like you can name things like that, but why is it still F-18?
Cues and a name from that original Hornet to help shape perceptions of the program as an inexpensive upgrade rather than a pricey new clean sheet design.
That's why.
And Lockheed Martin or the president may be doing the same thing with the F-55, calling it an improved or
Why are you making another plane? Like you just made F-47. Congress screaming and angry. Here's the opposition. We don't need it. F-47 can do everything. Why are you making another? No, we're not making another one. We're just upgrading F-35. Oh, is that what you're doing? Oh, all right, then that's fine then.
upgraded F-35 just to round off the pointier edges of what's sure to be an incredibly expensive proposal. So, what can we really make of this F-55 idea? Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not really sure. The president's concerns about single-engine fighters don't really reflect the modern-day reality of tactical aviation.
I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't like single engine. That's weird. It's like saying I don't like bikes because they have two wheels. It's a different thing. Attack class A5 mishap rates first. Really? Oh, look at that. Okay. It's a iPhone 3 engine flight hours for a valid comparison. F-16 is like very low. Look at that. It's a single engine plane.
Today's single-engine fighters are, broadly speaking, safer than yesterday's twin-engine platforms, thanks to advancing turbofan technologies. Though you could get more performance, maybe a higher top speed, higher altitudes, super cruise capabilities, or more from adding a second engine to the aircraft.
Maybe. There's no maybe. Of course you're going to get higher speed if you're two-engine. There's no maybe about that. It's basic physics. Like, it doesn't matter how heavy technology you create. Basic physics aren't going to change. Unless you change the means of propulsion. It's still turbine engines. Yeah, adding second will increase the speed of really heavy.
But maybe most importantly, we're talking about what would amount to an immense financial undertaking. And one that the president is proposing while his Defense Department mulls over pushing the production of the Navy's new stealth fighter in development, back by almost 3 years,
What?
over cost. Now, knowing what we do about the billions of dollars worth of design and infrastructure changes that would be required just to begin F-55 production, it is tough to reconcile the two.
Dude, you need your Navy plane. America's strength is only in their Navy. You're not gonna fight anything besides Navy. Most of your fight is overseas. You need Navy. You need to have that Navy plane now. Like, looks like shit is hitting the fan, right? Trump just said, oh, by the way, we are not attacking Houthi again, and that surprisingly came after F-35 nearly getting shot down. Maybe a reality check that you need better equipment, otherwise you'll be embarrassed at the global stage. If that's the case, ramp up the ramp up the R&D of like your Navy plane. You need that shit now. You walked around the world as like world police and like, oh, we are single-handedly more powerful than anyone else. You need to back that shit up now. Because for eight decades there was no war. Now wars are popping up. If your ass get beat down now, people will just assume like you were just blowing the hot air for past 8 decades. You were never strong. You don't want to be that, right? Now is the time to ramp up shit.
One could argue that it would obviously
And this is not just about fight, by the way. People are like, oh, you like fight? No, it's not about fight. If America shows like we are so powerful than you, then there will be no fight. If America can just bitch slap and knock out it one punch if some shit happens, the war will be stopped immediately. People are not going to be stupid to fight America. But if you show like, oh, people can take a shot at America and America can't do much about it, like, okay, then the war will drag on. America will win in the end, but there's too much damage in both sides. You need to have knockout blow, man.
Better to invest that money into the new fighters that the Navy has been clear that they need, rather than modifying other fighters that are already in production that nobody's asked for. But hey, could a twin-engine F-55 be useful? It absolutely could.
Yeah.
I'm just not
Can a flamethrower be useful? Can a machine gun be useful? Yeah, fuck yeah.
confident that it could be done while the Pentagon also pays for new ICBMs and silos, new submarines, new aircraft carriers, new 6th-generation fighters, new stealth bombers, and more. Even with a $1 trillion defense budget, there are limits to what you can build. But hey, let's see how this shakes out.
Yeah, especially when Trump basically tanked your economy by putting on tariff. I'm not saying that that's a bad move. Maybe Trump knows more than most people. I'm pretty sure China was like panicking recently and they're suddenly like, okay, we need to talk or some shit. Maybe Trump is really smart. Maybe we'll see in a few years like what he did that most people couldn't do for decades. Who knows? But the reality is right now your economy is kind of tanking, like major multi-trillion tank, right? Just like dip multi-trillion because of this, or at least in the recent short term. When Trump was saying that like, yeah, this is a long-term thing. Of course, you're going to lose money. But now if you're going to pitch this, people in the Congress will bitch about it. Like, we don't have money. We just lost money in economy. Where the fuck are we going to get money for this? And there's going to be much uproar. Trump needs to have like enough people in his Republican Party who are in charge to just back him. Then he can do all this shit. Well, that was new F-55. Yeah, the age of military equipment is here, people. More and more jets are coming. China's amping shit up, right? And USA is also amping shit up again. US has always done that, but now it's like amping up even more. This is the new age of military equipment, I guess. Right? I'll see you next time.